name is Karisa Pfeiffer. I'm from Orlando, Oklahoma. I'm currently a senior and majoring in animal science with a minor in business. And today I'm going to be talking to you about the effect of quality grade in the tenderness of beef. What is a quality grade? The quality grade is assigned to the carcass in the slaughterhouse. A quality grade is the process of dividing a commodity into groups which differ in the marketing process. Quality grades can vary greatly, starting with absolutely no marbling to a great amount of marbling. No roll is your first one, is your lowest, which actually cannot be graded. Then you go to USDA Standard, Select, Choice, and Prime. There are 4 types of fat in a beef carcass. Subcutaneous, which is the outer layer of fat that we can see that's forming on the animal while it is live. It can be seen mainly in the flank, around the ribs, around the tail head. Then intermuscular fat, which is your seam fat around each of your muscles. This can be seen greatly when you eat a steak, for instance, the fat in between your longissimus and gluteus medius. Your kidney, pelvic, and heart fat, which is the fat covering your heart, pelvic, and kidneys, which is used as a protective layer. Then the most important and lastly deposited, your intramuscular fat. Your intramuscular fat is your marbling, or your flavoring of your meat. Marbling gives the best flavor to any of your muscles. This is USDA standard steak from the USDA website. It virtually has no marbling. This is the USDA Select. There's actually 2 different degrees of Select. This has a little bit of marbling, but just not enough to qualify as choice. Then you have your USDA Select, where you get into your premiums. Modest and moderate, or high and medium choice can qualify for top choice box beef programs, while your low choice can just be sold as USDA choice. Then you have your USDA Prime, which is obviously your best of them all. It has the highest degree of marbling. It has the most flavor. It's going to be, it'll probably be the most tender depending on how you cook it. And then to your second part of our question, what is tenderness? Tenderness is the most important textural attribute. It has a great influence on consumer preferences, said by Miller et al. In 1995. Tenderness is extremely important when it comes to consumer satisfaction. Depending more on your tenderness than your marbling content, in my opinion, is your consumer satisfaction. The more tender your meat is, you can kind of waver on your taste a little bit better. On our first study that I did, done by Lang et al. In 2016 on Chinese fattened cattle. This study was done on the longissimus muscle of 25 fattened cattle. They were native yellow crossbred steers that range in age from 28 months to 30 months. The longissimus muscle was removed from the 12th rib to the last lumbar vertebrae from the left side of the carcass. The WBSF, or Warner-Brasher shear force test, showed that the values decreased significantly as the quality grade increased. The Warner-Brasher shear force test tests your tenderness of any muscle that you put into the machine. The present study was provided information on the intramuscular fat content, your Warner-Brasher shear force test, your sensor quality, and the relationship between the Warner-Brasher shear force and consumer tenderness perception about the Chinese fattened yellow cattle beef in different quality grades, said by Lang et al. In 2016. So basically this study just compared the effectiveness of the Warner-Brasher shear force test. And the second study, done by O'Quinn et al. In 2012, was studied the consumer desire for select and choice quality grades. Consumers could distinguish flavor between strip steaks from two varying marbling levels. Hunt et al. In 2014 said that we believe the higher intramuscular fat, or IMF content, of beef cuts considered intermediate in tenderness or tough will increase consumer flavor ratings and consistently overall palatability. Hunt et al. In 2014, the steaks came from 4 different muscles: the longissimus, gluteus medius, centrus ventrinalis, and the semibriminosus. Tenderness scores were more desirable for top choice compared to select, regardless of the muscle. This being said, it did not matter which muscle that it came from. The higher the quality grade in that muscle, the more tender the meat was. Apple et al. In 2014 studied the correlation of the quality of color of the top sirloin butts and the tenderness they withhold. Choice and select top butts were vacuum packaged and transported under refrigeration. In this study, no direct correlation was said to affect the tenderness from the color. Oboes et al. In 2004 studied the impact of the endpoint temperature, cooking method, and quality grade had on the Werner-Brecher shear force test. Heat solubilizes connective tissue, which causes tenderness, while also hardens microfibrillae proteins, which causes toughening. Muscles with a high collagen content show distinct Werner-Brecher shear force tenderization between 45 degrees Celsius and 65 degrees Celsius, and toughening between 65 and 80 degrees Celsius, whereas the same effect was not observed for the low collagen content longissimus muscle. Contrary to research published previously, our slower convection WB cooking method did not improve the tenderness of high collagen muscles, said by Oboes et al. 2004. This being said, the faster you cook your meat, it does not matter how much marbling is present. If you cook it too fast, it's going to be tough. But if you cook it slower, at a more steady pace, the more tender your meat will be. In conclusion, as a meat scientist, quality grade is extremely important. The higher the quality grade, the more money we're going to get with our premiums. And my question, does quality grade impact meat tenderness? My answer is definitely yes. The more marbling that is present in your meat, the more tender it is going to be. If you think about it, fat is much easier to cut through than muscle. If there's more intramuscular fat, then the easier your steak is going to be cut. Especially if it is cooked at the proper time and the proper temperature, your tenderness is going to be at its all-time high. Thank you.